Fonzie after 5.
Welcome back for another episode of Fonzie After 5, my ode to late night 90s call-in radio with a holiday twist. Tonight, I'm going to bop on over to Salzburg, Austria, where I am joined by Kathy Goeldner. Welcome, Kathy.
Kathy Goeldner, thank you so much for joining me today. How are you doing and where are you?
I'm doing well. I am in Salzburg, Austria, where it's 6 at night, so it's totally dark out there, but doing well. And it's despite we're in lockdown, and we have been in lockdown, actually full on lockdown until tomorrow, and that loosens up a little bit. But you know, we're this is the first time in I don't know, 20 years that I haven't been in the States for Christmas. Probably.
Oh, no kidding. I was actually going to ask you. So when did you move to Salzburg and where did you move from and kind of where are you originally from?
I'm from a tiny town in Iowa called Sigourney, southeast Iowa, near Iowa City, 2,000 people. And I did my undergrad at Iowa, and then I came over here to Salzburg to do a master's in German art song. Well, not just German, art song and oratorio. And that was in, oh God, before y'all were born. That was in 1985. My gosh.
Hey, I was born
Okay.
and I was walking.
Barely, just barely. I came over here and stayed. I got my first job in the theater here and met my husband, who's an American. He's from Ohio. I'm from Iowa, and I can't tell you how many people over here say, "Are you from the same place?"
That's crazy. So is your husband also a musician who was studying there?
He's a real musician. He's a bassoonist, and he just retired from 40 years in the Mozarteum Orchestra here. Just retired.
Wow.
And we met, like you do, in the canteen in the theater.
Oh, yes. Do you remember what you were eating when you met or what you were drinking or what show you were doing that you met?
Oh, yeah. It was Goeldner Baron and the operetta, and I was in the extra corps, the supplemental chorus. It had to be over a beer because that's what you drink in the theater canteen.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's sweet. And
Yeah.
so when you've come back to the States normally for Christmas, is that to Iowa or to Ohio?
Both. My Iowa family has in the past had a little more flexibility for travel. They're more spread out. So we'd usually celebrate in Iowa before actually having Christmas Eve, Christmas Day in Ohio. But now my mother-in-law passed away a few years ago, so we've been either having Christmas in Boston, where Eddie's older sister is, or in Santa Fe, where the other sister and the brother and we have a place. So, but this year, travel restrictions, so it's here. I'm gonna stay here.
So when you think back on Christmases in Iowa as a kid, what was that like? Did you have any family traditions that you still do when you go back or that you still do with your family when you're in Salzburg or anything that sticks out?
Yeah. Oh, so my sister's birthday is December 12th. So growing up, we always put the tree up on December 12th, not before.
Oh.
We're gonna stretch that a little bit this year. I think we're gonna do it this week. And putting up this, I think just the traditional go to church on the Christmas Eve and have the family come when they're spread out. Then they'd come on Christmas Day, and we'd get together. A lot more really strict traditions on the Bartlett side, on my husband's side. All sorts of things like when we would get together and you go out and choose the Christmas tree at the Christmas tree farm, then we'd have human sacrifice, right? Yeah, my husband's laughing in the background. We had human sacrifice. There's a whole thing, you find, it takes forever to find the tree, right? And the tree is invariably 3 feet taller than the actual room and it always is, because they always think, oh, we have a 12-foot ceiling, and no, we don't. And then pushing people in the muddy holes that the trees have come out of. But then my mother-in-law's house in Ohio, I don't know, it goes back years. And in order, you have to bring the tree trunk first through the front door, right? But you didn't want to scratch the paint. coming in the front door on either
Right.
side of the door frame. So the kids, it started out with, the siblings, and then it was the grandkids would dress up in all sorts of bizarre safety equipment, like a colander on your head and a catcher's mask and glove. I mean, just crazy stuff, and position themselves on either side of the door frame to protect the wood while the tree was brought through. You know, it was hilarious. And one year, I don't know, it was early on in our relationship, and the people that married into the Bartletts are called interlopers, right? So I was a pretty early on interloper, and I watched this all happening, and I said, "How come you don't just take the tree around to the other side of the house and bring it through the big French doors?" And they looked at me like I was an idiot.
Like, how dare you suggest
Dare
that?
you? So that's always been a big tradition. And then making Christmas cookies together, and Christmas with the Bartletts lasts all day, right? Well, first of all, everybody and the kids are, I mean, the kids are like 26 to 30 now, and
Right.
we still read them the night before Christmas on
Oh.
Christmas Eve. And then, so then they have to get in bed before Santa comes. And then in the morning, we have, you do your stocking, but then it really takes all day long because it's all about, and this is really nice, it's all about the giving and not the getting. So you don't just open your presents all at once, right? You watch. So you've got someone who's ready to give, someone who's on deck, the next person to give, and somebody in the hole is the person after them. And you call, like, I'm on deck, I'm in the hole, so that you watch it, each person open their presents one at a time. So it literally takes all day.
The giving and receiving of gifts, do you get like, do you exchange names, or is it just everybody gets everybody something, or how does that work?
Well, it used to be, everybody gave everybody something, but then it just got too commercial and too much money and all that. So we do Secret Santa,
Yay.
and each year you draw names. And now my sister-in-law is the keeper of the names, because invariably it gets to be July, and like, whose name did I choose? I can't remember. But it's total secret. It's going to be harder this year because we're not in one place,
Yeah.
and then it's the whole thing about Secret Santa, secret who gets the gift, and then you turn it to the person at the end. And I don't know how this happened, but I apparently have the reputation of being a present shaker, and I think it's been an argument for years. They say it like they're accusing me of something, right? And I say that's part of the deal, is shaking the presents and trying to guess what might be in them. But they think that's kind of a sin. But yes, and then we have our Secret Santa, and yeah, everybody, it just prolongs the process, which is great.
So it sounds like picking your name for the next year happens at Christmas. Is
Yeah,
that
usually, or as early, the next, if we've forgotten, then it's the next time we get together. You
wow,
know,
I love that. So
When
that's
you're
kind of
on the road,
fun.
I mean, when you're on the road as an opera singer, then I might be in these, but like 2 years ago, I was in Toulouse, France, right before Christmas. So I could do my Christmas shopping at the Christmas market in Toulouse before, or um, up in Finland one year. So that's been kind of a nice advantage to whoever you get for Secret Santa.
Do you remember a gift that you gave someone that was particularly like a great find that you remember getting on the road?
A special scarf from Toulouse. I guess I'm thinking of it because they have this special blue dye in the
Oh,
Toulouse area, and they call it pastel, actually. And gorgeous, just blue scarf made with that particular dye. Last year we actually had a vacation for the first time ever to Amalfi. Yeah, and
ooh.
so we got these local teacup with the saucer underneath it. I mean, like a mug, like a tea mug, and the
Mhm.
lid, so you
Yeah.
can take your tea. And it's this special ceramic artist of that area, and the pattern is based on the tiles of the cathedral roof up
Oh,
there.
neat.
So yeah, some things like that. Yeah.
Those things are so special. They really are. I mean, yeah. And that's so fun to kind of look forward in your schedule and think, where am I going to be? And who, like
doing my Christmas shopping in
yeah.
July.
So does your daughter enjoy coming back to the States and seeing her family over here too?
Well, she lives in Portland, Maine most of the time now.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
She went back to the I came here for masters. She went back there to the States to do her studies. And wound up right now she's working in a kindergarten for autistic children up in Portland,
Oh,
Maine. But she was just here for a couple of weeks, so that was great.
that must be nice
Yeah.
to have her come back to the nest.
Yes, exactly. And it was easier to get time off in November than at Christmas time, because everybody wanted Christmas off. So she was here for Thanksgiving and her birthday and catching up. In spite of lockdown, you're allowed to go out for walks, for your mental health.
Right.
So she was able to see her friends and go, for long, long walks around here because you've been to Salzburg, we the mountain that's in the middle of town that has
Yeah.
the fortress on it, that's right behind our house.
Can you
Like,
see it from your yard or from your house?
oh, I can touch it. It's literally about the wall of the mountain is 4 feet behind the back of our house. If
Oh
it were
my
big, I
gosh.
could show you, but oh yeah, it's a real fun when a couple times a year the Bergputzer come down, which literally means a mountain cleaner. And they have these guys that rappel from the top of the mountain and in the spring, I mean they cut down like roots, tree roots, or when things are starting to melt, they cut down the gigantic icicles and loose rock. So I'll be coming out my bedroom door, and there we have this long, tall window there, and suddenly there's a man hanging outside my window with a chainsaw.
Nothing to
Yeah,
see, just cleaning the mountain, no big
just
deal.
cleaning the mountain like you do.
Like you do. I
Mhm.
love that. That seems very Austrian.
It is. Yes. I'm hoping that they still have up in Nürnberg Abbey, which
Mhm.
is the one where Maria von Trapp supposedly belonged to the Abbey. It's up on the mountain just a little bit below the Festung, the fortress.
Mhm.
And they have a beautiful midnight mass. I mean, I'm Protestant. I didn't grow up Catholic, but it's a Catholic country.
Yeah.
And midnight mass, the nuns sing. The nuns are behind one of those wooden screens, like in Dialogues of the Carmelites. They can't
Yeah.
actually be out in public,
Mhm.
but you can sit in the chapel and listen to them sing this service. And I'm hoping that still takes place because I haven't been able to do that in like 25 years or something.
Oh, right. But that sounds incredibly beautiful
It
and
is,
peaceful, just
yeah,
peaceful.
yeah, and it's just you come out and there's snow and it's the lights and yeah, it is gorgeous.
I know that the kind of German Austrian tradition of Christmas cookies is deep. Do you have any recipes that you've kind of picked up from being over there that you didn't used to make that maybe now are in the rotation?
This year, I was able to make my mom's spritz cookies with my mom's, the cookie press from, it's got to be the late 50s,
Yeah.
maybe, might even be earlier. And they're it's a lot of butter and sugar. They're really good, little like sugar cookie like things, and you press them out and they're little, so there's barely any calories in them.
Exactly. And they're sweet, but they're not overly sweet. So your sweet tooth is like, well, just one more will do it. Well,
Yeah.
maybe just one more.
And if you have it with a cup of tea, then that kind of negates the calories anyway. So that's my theory.
I'm sure you're correct.
I have a theory that calories are by definition heat, correct? They are
Right.
heat, right? So
Yeah.
if you bake something at a high enough temperature, say anything above 350, the calories evaporate.
Like alcohol, they're just
Like
gone.
alcohol, it's that just dissipates in the air, right? That's my theory, and I'm sticking to it.
I'm gonna bake my cookies at a slightly higher temperature for and see if I can reduce a little.
Over 350, or if you freeze something like ice cream, calories can't survive at low temperatures.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. So I think I have a Kringle frozen in my freezer. So technically I've negated everything and it's good to go now.
Exactly. See, Welcome to my world.
Are you going to get, I mean, I'm guessing maybe, and maybe I'm wrong, but do you usually put up a Christmas tree, or is it not worth
Oh,
it
yeah.
because you're gone? Oh, you do anyway?
Oh, well, oh no, no, you're right. We haven't because I'm gone. But we put one up in the States, but we're going to get a tree in the next couple days. We actually, because we don't own a car because we live in the middle of the city. You don't need a car,
Right.
but we can walk over to Leopoldskron, which is near where they use the back of it for the Von Trapp Villa in the movie, right? And there's the big lake where the kids, yeah,
Right,
over
right.
that way is one of the tree markets in one of the parking lots. So we'll walk over there with the bike, and then they put it in those nets, and we'll strap it to the bike and push it back home.
Hey, that's genius. Is that something you've learned from watching other people do it, or did you come up with that mode of
That's
tree
just my
transport?
brilliant husband. You
Oh
know?
my gosh. Well, I mean, he does, it sounds like he comes from a tradition of
Yeah.
Christmas tree acquisition.
Yeah.
So,
We're gonna do that this week, and I was able to dig out the box of ornaments from the attic, and so I think I should
oh.
put them up. I'm excited.
Do you remember when you were a kid any ornaments on your parents' tree that you especially liked?
Yes, and I have them. Oh,
Oh, yay.
yes. There was like this funny little plastic, well, kind of styrofoam painted gingerbread man. I just loved him. I've got a couple of balls, decorated Christmas balls from my hometown that has
Oh,
like our courthouse on it, and one has the fountain from our town square. So I've got those, and a little tiny nativity set that was always on our tree, and some antique ornaments that belong to my grandparents.
today is technically Saint Nick's. Were you ever a Saint Nick's family? Did you do stockings or anything like that?
Well, here you leave your shoes outside the door, and Saint Nick leaves chocolate in it if you've been good, or Krampus leaves coal in your shoe if you've been bad. So yes, Anna always had her shoes outside the door, but up until I just realized this is like the first year that I haven't had. I forgot. I forgot to call St. Nicholas and tell him where she was. I'm sure he found her anyway because, he's St. Nick.
Let's hope. Yeah. So are you planning on zooming in with your family on Christmas or doing a little virtual get together?
Oh, yes. And we have a WhatsApp Advent chain because my brilliant daughter, she made Advent calendars for everyone in the family.
Oh,
So you
wow.
open the same thing on the same day, and they're things to do. Today was write a haiku. Yesterday was, how are you getting through? What's getting you through the pandemic? Day before it was like share a recipe. So I mean, she's brilliant. So we've been able to have that thing going together, and then we'll zoom in, and luckily I have the upgraded Zoom, so it doesn't cut us off after an
Right.
hour. So I think we'll be able to handle the all day long Bartlett thing.
I kind
Hopefully.
of love that. Just kind of leave it running and then just, do your thing. That
Yeah.
that advent calendar idea that's beautiful. I feel like could that maybe become a always tradition? I mean, that sounds so
I
lovely.
think it might. And there's like, I think there was a Lindor ball. There's a couple of candy things. One of the first was she had made gingerbread and wrapped them up, and everyone got a gingerbread cookie. And the day's task was to decorate the gingerbread. And then you share it all on that WhatsApp chain. It's really kind of fun.
I love that.
Because we're
Good
so spread
job,
out.
Anna.
Hmm?
I said, good job, Anna. That's
Good job on it.
beautiful.
I mean, she's so creative because we're spread out. We're here. One nephew's in Holland. Some families in Boston, Portland, Santa Fe, Taos. So we're all over the place, and that's kind of a neat way to have everybody doing gemeinsam, doing a
Group
activity together.
activity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
group activity.
Oh, I love that. So if you think that came out wrong. If you think back in your memory, I was gonna say way back, centuries ago. when you were a little kid,
Yeah.
do you have any Christmas presents that stick out in your mind, like the year I got this, or anything special that really meant something to you?
Well, a couple of them. My Easy Bake Oven. Oh,
Yes.
loved the Easy Bake Oven. And it baked things with a light bulb. It was like a 100-watt light bulb or something. I loved that thing. And there was one year, one day I was using it and I mixed up, they had the little mix packages. There was like the cake mix and the frosting, and I got those mixed up and baked the frosting and it tasted exactly the same. It was no different. I love that. And then I had this one year, I can't remember the name of the doll, but she was like a 2 foot tall, battery powered doll that would walk and just
Whoa.
it was so super. What was her name? I mean, I had her for the longest time. Super cool.
Do you ski?
Badly. I mean, I'm from Iowa. I mean, we don't have skiing really. I learned to ski, and I use that term loosely. I learned to ski when I got here, because Eddie grew up in a family of skiers, and in Austria they start literally when you're like 3 or 4. I think it's the first time Anna went skiing, and one of the big ski areas is just south of here, in it looks like it's pronounced Maria Alm, but in dialect it's Maria Oim. So
Huh.
years ago, we went skiing there, and we were with our friend who was uh, his brother. One of the friends was the former principal horn player in the orchestra here, and he grew up there. And it was Eddie and Billy, and I think his brother and me. And we got to a place where it was just icy. I was terrified. I didn't know where to go, and so I had one person in front of me and so I could follow, and one person behind me in case I fell. So
Yeah.
we get up to this, cross over to this, pista, and I lost my balance, right? And I found myself on my back, head first, sliding down an Alp, unable to stop. Yeah. And it's like a yard sale. The skis are going, right? And Eddie like skiing past me, trying to help me, and all of a sudden I'm stopped, and I look up, and I'm surrounded by all these handsome young Austrian men. And
Oh,
it was like the Austrian army ski team who stopped me. They like got my ski and got my poles, and like Eddie goes past. I guess she's okay. And the other story, I'll have you like this. So, Renee Fleming sang her one and only Constanze in Entführung here in Salzburg. Right, this is like a million years ago, and we were all friends. This is like 1986, and the principal clarinetist was trying to get lucky, so he invited Renee and me and our principal violist Lois, all Americans at the time, to go skiing. And I said, I'll go skiing with you if you invite Eddie Bartlett, right?
oh.
So Renee and Lois and Reinhardt are all good skiers, and I was terrible. So Eddie spent the time with me, and we're going up what they call a schlep lift. I think it's called a T-bar in the States. You know, the one thing you don't do is don't sit down on the T-bar. You just don't
Oh.
do it. And so I'm we're going up, and I'm an idiot. I don't know anything about skiing. And I'm saying, how do they make these tracks where your skis are supposed to go? It's just from people skiing. I didn't know. And Eddie's like, well, they have a special machine that comes up in the morning and makes the tracks so you know where to ski. Yeah. So at about this point, I lose my balance again, and I sat down. Lois and Renee are behind me on the next schlep lift, and they're going, get the heck out of the way. So I'm like, because I'm laying right in the path, get my over here, snow plow down again an Alp, right? And I get to the bottom, and this cute guy that I'm with, who I did wind up marrying, he says, wow, that's the first time in 17 years I've fallen off the T-bar. I'm like, great. But he married me anyway.
That's so
So
cute.
yes, Renee Fleming was on our first date with us.
I love that. That's funny. Oh, I think that's so cute that you had your eye on him.
Oh yeah. So, but and the long story, that was all to say, I don't ski anymore.
So, Kathy, before we go, I wanted to know what song you'd like to hear tonight and who you would like to dedicate it to.
I would like to hear White Christmas because it's plain white.
Yeah. So, Kathy, before we go, I wanted to know what song you'd like to hear tonight and who you would like to dedicate it to.
I would like to hear White Christmas because it's one of my favorites, and I want to dedicate it to Sylvia McNair, who is an old friend of ours. She grew up in Mansfield, Ohio, with my sister-in-law, and that yes, and Sylvia and I would, when we were still having our family Christmases in Mansfield, we both went to the Congregational Church, and she and I would often sing "Oh Holy Night" together. But I was just thinking of all those wonderful years in Mansfield, both her family and our family, and how we miss those and all the snow. And yeah, and want to say Merry Christmas to Sylvia.
Oh, that's beautiful. Those must have been really special
Oh, yeah.
times together. Oh, all right, Kathy. Well, here is White Christmas for Sylvia.
Hello, my name is Nicole Heaston, and I've recorded White Christmas at the request of Kathy Goeldner for Sylvia McNair. So Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, all the way from Katy, Texas.
Oh, I have never met her, but I certainly know who she is. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know, where the treetops glisten and the children listen to hear sleigh bells in the snow. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, absolutely spectacular. Oh, thank you, Nicole. I can't believe we have never met, but and have not yet sung together. But oh, it's just beautiful. Beautiful singing and all the Christmas decorations. I love the Christmas tree pants and the Santa Claus earrings. That was absolutely spectacular. Thank
Well,
you.
Merry Christmas to you and to Eddie and to Anna. And it was
Thank
really nice seeing you and hearing your stories. And
you. And
I hope we get to sing together again sometime soon.
yeah, once we get past this season, we'll recover. People keep saying, is this the end of the opera industry? I'm going, this art has survived for 400 years, and it's survived plagues before. It's not going to get stopped by this.
No, we won't let it.
No, I'm sure. We have to think outside the box, but we'll be back.
And that's what we're good at. Really, when you think about it, that is what we're good at,
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, well, Merry Christmas to you and have a nice night.
Frohe Weihnachten. And special thanks to Nicole Heaston. That was wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you again for joining us for tonight's episode, and a special thank you to Kathy Goeldner and Nicole Heaston. Kathy, we all have a new use for our colanders and oven mitts. Now we can all get our trees into our houses safely. Happy holidays, everybody, and remember, it's after 5 somewhere.
Fonzie after